Hi, Michael Bettine here today, and I want to do something a little different. I'm going to change a chord on one of my gongs because I found it to be frayed. So this is something that you want to pay attention to. This is my number 0 bronze gong, and I was playing it and I looked up and I could see that these ends here, right where it's coming through the hole, were a little bit frayed. So that was an indication to me, check it out later when I'm home and make sure the cord is still good or needs to be replaced. So in taking a look at it, you can see here the black outer sleeve is almost completely severed on this side, and you can see the white inner core. I don't think the other side is quite as bad now, but this side is. I've had this gong for about 2.5 years, and it comes with me every gig, so it gets used a lot. And the part of this is my drumming gong, so this gets handled a lot, and it gets sort of, because I'm muting it with my hands and my body, it gets pulled on, it gets kind of moved around a little bit, so I can see where the edge of the hole is going to cut through the cord. So it's important. Check your cords all the time, because you never know when they'll get, sort of cut through. Like here's another example. This is from, I think this is from my 32-inch gong, my symphonic, and I had this as the original gut cord that was on there for about probably 20 years, but you can see this is almost severed through. The other side, it's got some wear, but this side is almost severed. So you got to check your cords. It doesn't take much time to do, but even when you're setting up or taking down your gongs, it's just have a quick look and go, how is this? Check to see for wear like this, for cutting, and also check to make sure your knot is okay. Those are important things. So I decided to change this, and I don't know, this almost, what Paiste's using now looks almost like some sort of paracord, nylon paracord. I'm not a big fan of paracord, and I've said that as much on the internet many times and on my website. I prefer, this is Climber's accessory cord. This is 3mm. Now 7 years ago, back in 2017, I bought 100 feet of this, and this is what I have left 7 years later. I have strung up, I don't know how many gongs with this, plus bell plates, plus other percussion accessories. I like this. It's great, and I happen to like the color red, so that makes it even better for me. But 3mm. It's a little bunched up here, but we'll just kind of unknot it. 3mm Climber's accessory cord. What I like about this is you can see it's very flexible, and because it's climbing cord, it's designed to be cut resistant. Because if you're hauling your packs up or whatever while you're climbing, they're going across rocks, sharp edges, things like that. You don't want anything to happen to them. Okay, I've got this just corded out. So it's about the same diameter. Paiste cord looks like it might be a little more, maybe it's a 4mm. But this will fit most gongs. You have to watch too for the hole. Paiste gongs have a small hole. Some of the Chinese gongs will have a really big hole. I don't know why. Well, because they use that really big cotton cord, so they cut a huge hole. So you might want to get a larger diameter of this. I got this on Amazon. It was like 20 bucks for 100 feet. I know most of you people don't need 100 feet, but you can usually buy it in shorter amounts, or if you go to a sporting goods store that has rock climbing stuff, they'll usually have cord, either bulk cord that you can just say, hey, I just need 5 feet of this cord, and buy it by the inch or by the meter, whatever, by the foot. Or sometimes they'll have a pre-packaged, here's a 3-meter package, a 10-foot package. But I bought 100 feet because I use it for everything. So the first thing we want to do, if at all possible, we don't want to cut this, because we want to have this original cord to be able to measure out what we will need. So if you can kind of get this open. I'm in the kitchen here, and I thought this would be the best place to do a video because I got the table and that. So here I got a fork just to help pull this out if I can. It's pretty tight. It's certainly gotten pulled tight over the 2.5 years I've been using it. Try not to stab myself. If I can get this end, there we go. Get it open. There. Let me pull this through. And this other side through, and here we can really get a good look at this now. Look at that. That thing is really just about severed through the black, like I said, and even the white's still intact. It doesn't look cut, but yes, I don't want to trust this. It's still going to last a while, but better to change it. Now it's interesting, this had a single knot on this end. This end we have a double knot. Let's see if we can get that. Again, a fork. So we can just get that to pull through, loosen up a little. This one is tight. Try not to stab myself with the fork. That's why I'm not using anything real sharp. Sometimes I'll use a small screwdriver, but I didn't feel like running down to my workshop because I'm right here in the kitchen. Fork will do. There we go. Kind of pull it through there. Got it loose. Just trying to get the knot past it, and we should be good. There we go. And the second one should come apart easier because it's not tight. There we go. So the next thing we want to do is measure it out. If you want your gong at the same height, basically you want to measure it out at about the same. If you want to raise your gong, you'll cut a little shorter. I'm just going to cut a little bit more. There we go. And I don't have a lighter because I don't smoke, but I do have matches. These are from the Lake Park Bistro here in Milwaukee. When I go to restaurants and they have free matches, I'll take a couple just because it gives me something to use for like this. This one's already melted a little. Let's just get a little more. There we go. So now we have our melted ends. What we want to do, we want to knot one end. Now when you do that, you don't want to leave a lot sticking out, okay? You want to have it as close as you can. If you just cut a lot and knot it, you can always cut it shorter, but this is about where you want it, okay? I'll tell you a story from last week. Let's just pop this back in here for a sec. I can illustrate what was going on. I was speaking to somebody over the phone. Somebody was having a gong problem. They bought a used Peisty gong, and it suddenly started buzzing, making weird sounds. So my job was to play 20 questions and ask them all sorts of things. And like, okay, you can take a flashlight, a magnifying glass, you can look for cracks anywhere, you know, you can put your ear up against the gong, tap it lightly, and move around. If you, hopefully you could hear the buzzing and maybe there's a crack, and like I said, you take a flashlight and a magnifier, hopefully see the crack, maybe you can cut it out and sort of save the gong. And we got to talking, and they said that, you know, after they got the gong, they shortened the cord. So right away I was like, okay, I know what the problem is. When you have a long end like this, let's turn this up, and you have like a gut cord or a nylon type cord where you've burnt the end, it becomes real hard. And if you get the cord on there and this end is up against the gong, that can buzz. So I said, check your cord. And they did right away and said that was the problem. So they had extra cord after they had shortened it. They had extra cord past the knot, and that was touching against the gong and making a buzz sound. So there's a way to diagnose your problems. If you hear a buzzing, check your knot first. And sometimes, you know, you could have a knot on there and it won't buzz for years and years and years, and then it just gets turned the right way that it buzzes. Okay, we just pop this in here. Pop this through here. Now these ends are already taken care of, so I don't have to do anything to them. I'll make a knot. Okay, don't leave too much out. You pull it tight, and then I'll usually kind of pull against the gong, snug the knot, make sure it's not going to come apart. And there you are. New gong rope. It's not a difficult process, but it's a necessary one sometimes. And if you have to cut the knot off or something, or if it breaks, if your rope breaks and you have two pieces, you could just measure the two pieces, and then, you know, so say it comes out 24 inches, well then you just measure out 24 inches of new cord, you know, just like that. But, you know, use the old one for a pattern. If you want it to hang lower, well then cut some extra inches, and, you know, cut plenty of extra, because then you can experiment moving one of the knots to get it exactly where you want. And if I did this and I want it to be higher, well, you know, I say, yeah, let's try it up a little higher. I'll put in another knot, see if I like it that way. But it's easy to do. Change your cord, and it's important. And it's important to have cord on hand, because I have to play tomorrow. I don't want to have to, you know, run to a sporting goods store where I have a good chance they're not going to have what I need, really. Or I don't want to have to order from Amazon and hope it shows up tomorrow morning before I leave. You know, have some cord on hand. It's really important. I even bring a length of cord with me in one of my bags. I have cord, I have tools, I have a knife, I have tools for my rack, I have extra nuts and bolts for all the clamps on my rack, because things happen, especially if you play a lot. If you just move your gear once a month, it's not such a big thing. Or if your stuff stays at home, or you have a place some sort of a gong temple or whatever where all your gongs are and everybody comes to you, then that's not as important because you'll probably have things there. But if you travel, bring spare parts. So I bring spare cord, and like I said, I bring some tools, basic tools, and I bring spare parts for my rack. I've only had one clamp break, and the clamp is probably 20 years old, and I got through the gig with it. But the problem I have is sometimes the nuts and bolts will strip out. I think, you know, some of my stuff I've been using since 2000, so it's been tightened and loosened hundreds and hundreds of times, so they're bound to strip out. Also, every once in a while, and I just did this, I went through this again, is take some light machine oil and oil all your screws on the rack. All the screws that you have to tighten, just put a little drop on there. That will help everything go together and come apart easier. And I think the lubrication also helps you from wearing out the threads so much. Okay, that's our quick thing today. Change your gong cord. I'm good to go. You can see I put a towel down here on my table so I don't put the gong face down on the wood, which probably wouldn't hurt it, but it's much quieter with a towel and it's much softer. So there you go. Have a good day and have fun.